Ladies and gentlemen, we want to bring to the stage now another conversation that will hopefully inspire you to think about what's next, what to do with your investments, with your money, how to make a difference in your communities. The head of community banking and consumer governance for Bank of America, Miss Christine Channels. Christine, are you here? Looking fabulous as always. And there he is, Operation Hope CEO, John Hope Bryant. Give them a big round of applause.
Are you enjoying the day? We're coming home. We're coming home. This is the most powerful day of our forum. Tell everybody to watch every part of it. Isn't it cool, all the women who are on stage running things?
Thank you.
We didn't plan it this way. It's just that women are just running things. I just absolutely love it. And this builds, so Bank of America is one of the systemically important institutions in our country. Bank of America was founded through the Bank of Italy, as I recall. It was an immigrant who came to this country and with very little money. Actually, when the San Francisco, I think it was the fire happened in San Francisco, he actually banked in a bar. He actually made loans to small business owners to rebuild from a bar top in San Francisco, and that was a precursor to what we call Bank of America today. Today, Bank of America has 4,300 branches, give or take. Bank of America is the largest concentration of bank branches in our communities in the country, a third of all their branches. And Bank of America was the bank, not only that Doug McMillon called first, Brian, your CEO, to be involved with financial literacy for all, but is also the bank that had the first experience changing my mindset. Yeah. I don't know if you know this, but my mother and I and my sister Monty and brother Donnie, we lived in Compton, California, and I was 9 years old, and I had experience with, unfortunately, a tragic two incidents. My best friend was murdered next to me over money when I was 9. The guy who saved my life when I was 7 years old was murdered when I was 7. All this was over money. And by the time I was 9 years old, I was focused on how do I get out of this situation of poverty and this cycle of prison, probation, parole, and problems. I knew there were brilliants all around me in my neighborhood who looked just like me, but I didn't know the business plan. No one had taught us financial literacy. And I didn't know what financial literacy was back then. So I go to school, and this white banker had on a blue suit, a red tie, and a white shirt. Unfortunately, I don't know his name. I never got his business card. I didn't get to keep his business card. He showed it to me. I remember first of all, I said, the only white man I ever met with a suit on was a detective, and it was a really bad suit. Some of you guys know what I'm talking about. In our neighborhoods, if you see a white man in a suit on, it's a limited construct because there's no office buildings in our neighborhood. His business card said 16th floor. The only multi-level building in Compton was a courthouse. He was on a salary. My mother worked an hourly job at McDonnell Douglas Aircraft, now Boeing Aircraft, so I couldn't relate to that. She had a lunch break and 2 15-minute breaks. So he was there in the middle of the day. He had this beautiful suit on. Christine, he had a car in the parking lot that had a license plate and tags on it. It was brand new. He was legal. Some of you get this, some of you don't. And I didn't know who this guy was. He had a white shirt on, not a blue collar.
Yeah.
What do you do for a living? I asked him, and how'd you get rich legally? I was dead serious.
Yeah.
And he said, young man, I'm a banker and I finance entrepreneurs. And so I said, sir, I don't know what an entrepreneur is, but if it's legal and you're financing it, and there's a bunch of you in this country that's financing entrepreneurs, if it's legal and you're financing it, I'm gonna be one. And I'm an entrepreneur today because that banker came in my classroom at 9 years old and really unleashed the power of markets and money in my life and financial literacy. And when he first got there, because he didn't want to be there. He was forced to become there because of the Community Reinvestment Act, first year of that, 1977. He said, I don't know you guys. We didn't want him there. He didn't want to be there. And after a couple of sessions, he's like, you kids are not so bad. You're sort of remind me of my kids. And we're like, well, for a white guy, you're not so bad. And, you're sort of okay and not what we've seen on TV. And we began to build a relationship. We began to have a trust, banking's trust business, and a rapport. And that's when I asked him that question the second or third session. I used to, by the way, I don't know, my mother's still here. My mother's right here. My mother, I wanted to be like the banker, so I wanted to wear a suit to school, the third session. And Mom said, I can't afford to buy you suits, so she made me a suit, a three-piece crushed velvet.
I love it.
Velour red suit with a ruffled shirt.
Well, you were ready for the formal events too.
And a big bow tie.
Yeah.
And Christine, she sent me to school. This is like child brutality or something. She sent me to school dressed like this.
Character building.
No, I got my rear end whipped for character building. And I had a briefcase, there was nothing in it but my dreams. And I sold mail order Stacey Adams shoes to all my teachers, inspired by this banker.
Oh, that's awesome.
From Bank of America, so thank you.
I am glad that was a great experience. We are so grateful that you had that experience and able to build what we have today with Operation Hope.
Yeah, and
incredible.
Yes, absolutely. So we have this great partnership together. We've started off with a demonstration project with Hope Inside. Your president, Aaron's, the president of Consumer Bank, is on our global board of advisors. Given the success that you see, what else can we expect from the bank? How we expect you to lean in?
Yeah, that's a great question, and a long partnership with Operation Hope and Bank of America, which we're grateful for. Aaron introduced me to Operation Hope in 2019, so I came and met Mary and the team and learned all about the work that you were doing with Hope Inside. So in 2020, we deployed in LA and Atlanta, 4 financial centers, and really saw the power of Hope Inside and what it meant to be able to refer consumers to coaches and help them achieve their financial goals. And what I'm excited about today is that we're expanding upon that. We're going into 17 U.S. markets, 180 financial centers across the country. Really
Hope Inside?
Yes.
Boom!
Yeah, it's incredible. Our clients are seeing a huge benefit from it.
Fantastic.
Yes, and we're in, as you mentioned earlier, a lot of LMI communities. And so having those Hope coaches that can really support around that community where our centers are has made a big difference. We've seen a lot of improvement in people making their financial goals real.
So beyond the storytelling and the narrative and the good feelings, what I'm hearing you say, Christine, is there's data now that shows this is actually good business.
That is what the difference is. There are a lot of things you do that feel good. We do curriculum and go in and teach literacy, but when you can see the outcome of it, and that's what we see with Operation Hope. We work with clients that we see on average, they increase their FICO scores by 20 points very shortly after working with the Hope Coach. We saw debt reduction of $800+ in a short period of time. And you think about what people have been going through the last 2 years and get these kind of results, and then savings of over $4,300.
How much?
$4,300.
Really?
Guys, this was during a pandemic. I mean, it's incredible what we've been able to see. Real data.
This is somebody making $50,000, $60,000, and you're seeing these changes. So what that's doing is helping to get the bank out of the no business and back into the yes business.
That's so important because we've seen really high client feedback, very high stat. They love the program. But do you know who loves it just as much? Our employees. Because nobody likes saying no. You see these people come in with their financial dreams of wanting to own that car or wanting to own that house, and they just have some credit repair issues or they need help with the budget. And, we can't go home at night and talk to them about trade-offs on where to put their money and spend it. But the Hope coaches are able to create that one-on-one session, talk to them, help give them advice. And we've seen people within a few months be able to move from not being able to qualify for a car to driving away in one. I mean, it's really incredible.
And what people don't realize, there's two things. Operation Hope is the only nonprofit allowed to operate inside of a bank branch in U.S. history. And it's the FFIEC, the Joint Regulatory Agencies, gave us CRA credit, gave banks CRA credit for having us in bank branches. That was just in 2014, 2015. It's taken a while for this to bake in. But so it's pretty extraordinary to have a nonprofit inside of a bank, period. But on top of that, to have the ability to do things that bankers can't do. People don't realize that the banker cannot take your application, see what's wrong in your application, see your credit file, particularly if they have a loan with you already. They can't tell you, you know what, this is the reason you're declined, or here's the reason we're gonna decline you, for either fear they're gonna be sued by you, or they may actually breach some federal law. Right. So even though it's good intentions, the banker can't do it. So, but my Hope Inside coaches don't work for the bank, they work for me. So now we can do things the banker can't. Yeah. We can pull your credit report and go, girl, that looks like a bus accident. They can't do that.
Right.
And we can say, well, what's that? And they go, I don't know what that is. Well, okay, that's called an error. And the credit bureaus, as the law states, if the bank can't, the credit bureaus, 3 of them, can't prove that that's yours within 30 days when we write a letter, then they must remove it. So we write a letter, bank can't do this, we write a letter on behalf with the applicant to the credit bureaus. 8 times out of 10, they don't confirm it within 30 days, it gets removed. That pops credit scores 20, 30 points.
Easily, yep.
And then we challenge, now the consumer has enough confidence to tackle another issue and another issue. And by the time we finish, we've gotten the credit score up, as you said, 40, 50 points. And now we're able to deal with the budget issues. 2 ways to make money, make more, spend less. Then we get the debt down by a couple $1,000s, get the savings up. I mean, the number you just mentioned is amazing. We're getting savings up. And by the time we finish with that, somebody is actually bank qualified, and the bank can say,
yes.
Yes.
Yes, and that's what we want to say.
To prime financing.
Yes.
This is not like the Homeboy Shopping Network financing. This is not like some...
Exactly.
This is like prime rate... That was funny, you guys. This is like prime rate financing.
We have safe, affordable products and services, and we want to be able to provide those to all of the consumers that want in. I know we've been talking about financial literacy. I love the conversation you had with all the CEOs, because it's a real problem in the U.S., and we are dealing still with 6 million households that are not in banking, and they're using those check cashing services and payday lenders, and it's a cycle of debt and destruction. We did a study and found that $40,000 on average through a lifetime of using that, being outside of banking, is what they're spending on check cashing and wires and payday. That could be in their savings. That could be leading towards retirement. It could be building an investment accounts. So that's where we really feel like we've got to step in and make a difference.
People don't realize how powerful interest rates are. And what you just said about just getting somebody to a point where they can get the same financing that Doug McMillon or Dan Schulman or Tony Ressler get, or that I get, or that you get. I read somewhere, if you buy a car for $10,000 at 16% interest, you only end up paying for that car 3 times. Did you hear that? You buy a car for $10,000 on a credit card at 16% interest, you'll pay for that car in the life of that 3 times. That's, to me, slavery. Andrew Young says, Ambassador Young, to live in a system of free enterprise and not to understand the rules of free enterprise must be the modern definition of slavery. So we're not dumb and we're not stupid. We're brilliant, but no one gave us the lessons on money and financial literacy because the Freedmen's Bank failed. No one gave us what I call silver rights. They gave us civil rights. We needed that, but now we need this too. And if you get a Mercedes-Benz with a 18% interest rate, it's not a Mercedes-Benz, it's Mercedes payments.
Yeah.
But if you get it at 2%, now that's a completely transformational transaction. We've got to be as obsessed about this conversation about accretive finance and understanding this as we are about the contextual things in our lives. Is this something, in the little time we have, I want two questions. One, is this something, when I met you in the back, I saw the twinkle in your eyes. This is
important to me.
It's personal to you.
Yeah.
The little time we have, two questions. Why is this personal to you? I can tell you care in your eyes. Number two, I just love authenticity. I hate toxicity, so I love this sort of authenticity you have. Why is this relevant to you? And how does it relate to what the overall mission with Bank of America is about and what you're leading?
Well, personally, I grew up in an LMI neighborhood. And
low to moderate income.
Low to moderate income. And my parents did have checking accounts, and there was a savings account. My mom was teaching, but they didn't know about investing. They didn't know about how to make real money that would later allow them to retire. And when I went to school, I had a friend that had gone to business school that taught me about stock markets and investing. And I was like, why isn't this available to everyone? Why is this a secret? Why do you have to go to business school to learn these things? You know, I had a civics teacher that on his own accord taught us how to balance a checkbook when I was in 9th grade because we didn't understand it. And I look at that and I'm like, if healthcare is available to all, and it should be, financial education and literacy should be given to all of us at an early age. They're just as important.
I'm going to say something, I'm going to take a risk here because I don't know your story. As I look in your eyes, I'm also seeing something else, independence and freedom. That a woman stays with an abusive man with 3 children because of money. A woman oftentimes will feel chained to a situation because maybe no one taught her money. My guess is that you getting that knowledge from that friend and you gaining this empowerment, now you're in this powerful position, it gives you independence.
Yeah, freedom of choice. Freedom of choice is what I wanted, to be able to make choices for myself and not be stuck with someone else deciding for me.
That's what I'm talking about. I've asked every leader who's spoken here to do something, and I'm going to ask you to think about it as well. I just want you to reach one and teach one. I want you to find a young girl that has light in her eyes. You might find them in the hallways of the forum. You might get, in the next 6 or 12 months, as you run across families in the branches that you talk to, find a young girl who you think has that same light that I'm seeing in your eyes. Maybe they're from a low to moderate income community like you and I came from. Maybe they're black or brown. So maybe you have a little bit that you have to learn from each other. And see if you can touch her, give her that same self-esteem and that same independence that you now have.
I will.
Will?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Great talking to you.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, please say thank you to Christine.
Thank you.
And Bank of America.
Thank you.